Hey, this is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in Pax Pamir 2nd Edition. I played this a four-player game, in Pax Pamir just the other day. I don't own the game, but I have some photos from that session. One thing I want to note is that they use these clay, they use what I think is clay, it might be resin, but it feels like clay for these pieces that you put on the map, these tokens that you put on the map, and they feel really nice. They feel old. Like the game has an ancient feel to it in a good way, like you're actually manipulating and posturing over this area of the world as you play. And that actually ties to my favorite mechanism. I'll jump right into that, which is that you, the players, are not these factions, these nations on the map, which are Russia, Afghanistan, the Afghans, and the British. You are not any of those. Instead, you kind of ally with one of them. At any given time, you have like a British allegiance, or you have an Afghan allegiance or a Russian allegiance. There's a little dial. I don't have it in the photo here, but there's a little dial that you turn to show all other players where your current allegiances lie. And I really, really like this. This is a mechanism that we've also seen in Camel Up, in a very different game. In Camel Up, you are not the camels. Rather, you are bettors who are betting on the camels and manipulating the camels. Same thing in the War of Whispers. War of Whispers is a fantastic area control game where you, again, you are not one of the factions of the board. Instead, you are manipulating them. And that is very much the case here. You are manipulating these factions. You are allying with them, but you can change those allegiances. And I really, really like that. I think that's a really, really clever mechanism, especially due to the impact on the team aspect of the game. The game is not a team-driven game, at least at 4 players. Maybe at some player count, there's a defined team mechanism. But there isn't, at the beginning of the game, we didn't say, okay, me and Alex, we are a team for this game. Rather, those teams emerge, those partnerships emerge during the game, and they might go away at certain points during the game. And that I really, really like. It feels much more organic and natural than a game where you sit down and say, okay, in this game, you are my team member for this game because that's just what we have to do. That's the game's requirement. That's the rule of the game. Instead, it felt much more organic. I had a teammate, a partnership with one of the players for a little while. That went away, and then I had a partnership with a different player later in the game. It just felt really good for that to move around and shift over the course of the game. A couple other things I really like. The game has this card river system where the cards that you buy the cards available have different prices throughout the game, and there's you preset the deck with 4 dominance cards, and whenever those dominance cards appear, that means that any player is eligible to buy that card and essentially end one of the rounds of the game. So the rounds of the game are a little organic, a little fluid over the course of the game, and players have some control of it. If no players end up buying those cards and they end up eventually getting discarded off to the left, that ends the round. But I really like that players have the ability at a certain time to say, okay, now is the time that we are going to end the round, and look at who controls, look at the dominance of the area on the board right now. I really like that ability to grab it and say, okay, this is now. This is when we are ending the round right now. Also, there's an interesting little mechanism. It didn't come into play in our game, but if any player is, I don't have the victory track. Actually, I do have the victory track. You can see these tokens on this victory track here. Victory point track. If any player at any given time is, I believe, 4 or more than 4 spaces on this track ahead of the next player. So if red, that was me, if red pulled more than 4 spaces ahead of the yellow token, that player just automatically wins. I thought that was an interesting mechanism to really keep the attention on that leading player and encourage other players to shift and manipulate around that player so that player doesn't eke out of an unexpectedly early victory in the game. So yeah, those are my favorite mechanisms in Pax Pamir 2nd Edition. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please let me know if I said anything incorrectly here. I'm welcome to revisions in the comments below about the rules. And if these mechanisms also make you think of any other game with similar mechanisms, let me know that in the comments below as well. Thanks.